Dish shares are up. They were up yesterday as well. And, you know, it's funny. There was talk around. There was a desk, at least, one broker who was talking about it. They didn't put anything in print. This idea that, hey, Dish and DirecTV are having talks about merging their direct broadcast satellite businesses. The New York Post then writing it up, saying there are talks. Don't know whether there are or not, but it's certainly on the face of it makes a great deal of sense. You know, TPG, remember when AT&T dispatched that asset, they own 30% of it, but they control it. And when I was reporting on this at the time, the great hope for any owner of that asset is that you could combine it with Dish because the synergies are enormous, the cost saves are enormous, and you create a great deal of value from it. If you're Charlie Ergen, you are probably needing some money to continue your build-out plan on 5G. I mean, we've been waiting for some big press release, some big announcement of a partner there. You know, there's all these rumors, oh, will Amazon come in some big way? Will somebody give him big money? Because it is not cheap to build out a nationwide 5G, even if it's going to be focused on enterprise, wherever they're going to focus. It costs a lot of money. He's been able to raise it in the capital markets to some extent. I think he'd hoped his stock price would go up. Maybe he'd be able to raise more. That hasn't been the case. But again, structure of a deal with DirecTV, do you just merge it in? If he wants control, would he really monetize? Anyhow, not to mention, getting a deal done with Charlie Ergen is probably one of the single most difficult things to do in business. So we watch Dish shares up, but we will remind people of how difficult it can be to get a deal done with Mr. Ergen. There still might be some antitrust, although it's hard to imagine. And there is going to be pressure on that business that is the future for Dish, which is namely creating a 5G nationwide network, as they have said they will do and have certain timelines to do it in, and raising enough money to be able to fulfill that promise.
It's so expensive.
Yes. Yes.
Do they? I mean, they obviously must sit there and say, look, we don't have the cash flow to build it out the way Verizon does.
That's the key point, Jim. I think, you know, there are ways to do things and architect things that aren't perhaps as expensive, and you don't have to be quite as robust in certain areas, but it's still a lot of money. Right. Even at the lowest numbers, we're talking 10. I don't even know what the numbers are. No. It depends on who. Haven't had a chance to talk to Mr. Ergen, and again, no comment here on whether. I don't know. I thought we would have sat down and done something. I've always enjoyed that. I enjoy his company a great deal. But glad I never had a negotiated transaction with him, though.
But didn't you think that, I mean, for instance, the Apple story, Major League Baseball, came and went. Yeah.
What's the point on that, though?
Well, I just think that this football package is worth a fortune.
I see.
I think, especially with, you know, we're talking about a number of people who play fantasy in this country is extraordinary. And the fact is that you have to watch even the worst fourth quarter there is because of fantasy, Carl. So it's a pretty good business because you have to watch the ads. You have no choice because most of your players, you got to find out whether it's a garbage play. If you have a great receiver, even if the team's losing, that guy's likely to get passes. The idea of people don't talk about the amount of money that why football has been so good. I think it's fantasy.
No, there's no mystery why the league has embraced it. It keeps you watching no matter what the score is.
Yes.
Yeah.